Popcorn for Breakfast, presented by St. Louis Area Smoothie Kings. Now, here are your hosts, Cam and Kirk.
Welcome in, Popcorn for Breakfastians. Thank you for lending your ears so we can lend you our thoughts on movies and stuff. Of course, you heard Cam is right here.
Here I am.
There he is. He's always here. This is his house.
Live and in Technicolor.
Yes, we should do a black and white episode.
We should.
That'd be pretty fun.
Then I wouldn't be able to say that.
For an exclusive black and white
episode. That would be
episode.
the only thing that's different. But yes, let's do it.
I'm going to actually get you those like black and white bulbs for the studio. And but I want you to use them like regularly, like on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
So you're just like washed out in gray. And
we can film it on that new film that Christopher Nolan made IMAX invent.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and get our name on the wait list for the IMAX camera.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
That'll be good.
And I am Kirk. You heard it. We are here. We're live in the studio, but you're listening who knows when. But we're thanking you for listening at whatever time's convenient for you, whether it's the day after we put this out there on the air or if it's like a year or 10 years or 30 years. Sometimes I think about our podcast, Cam, and I think, what if people, like the apocalypse happens and people are like roaming the streets, rummaging for survival things, and someone gets like an old iPod and they're listening to our podcast.
On an iPod?
On an iPod.
Well, that feels like it would be impossible because they'd have to have downloaded it, and iPods aren't a thing. But sure, yeah, I get the sentiment.
Yeah,
I do understand the sentiment, yes.
This is for like the generation that still uses iPods because they're discontinued, but I feel like it'd be very fun to find that one day.
It would be.
And then a single tear drops down our faces if we're still alive.
It's us who finds it?
Yes.
Oh, you didn't specify that before.
Yeah, I just made it up.
I feel like your story, I'm finding holes in this story, but we'll build it out.
Well, Cam, I want to talk about a different story today. It is about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and the mayhem that they provide. This is talking about Mutant Mayhem, and I'm going to tell you the synopsis of this movie before we start rating this. Are you ready for this, Cam?
Oh, I'm so ready.
I'm glad you're ready. Victims of a childhood chemical spill, 4 turtle brothers are mutated into super turtles. With enhanced strength, reflexes, and intelligence, this vigilante team protects the world of humans. But will our species welcome them with open arms? Or would it be easier to sit back and watch them destroy themselves, allowing the mutants to rise up and take a seat at running the world? TMNT Mutant Mayhem now in theaters. So that's the movie. That's the movie queued up for this week.
That's it.
It's not as dramatic as I just read it.
At times.
Yeah.
There's drama. There's drama.
It's mostly...
but we got to stay spoiler free.
Oh.
So we have to like, I like what you did. I think it was apt. Doesn't tell it all, but it's not supposed to.
Okay. Well, I'll allow it there. I want to just throw this at you, Cam. Do you know that there's a term out there in the world for the hobby of searching for reptiles outdoors?
No.
There's a term.
Does it involve, is it herping? Herpetarying?
You nailed it. It is herping.
Is it herping?
It is absolutely herping.
That's awesome. That's kind of a lazy term if I was able to guess it first try.
I have so often on this podcast told you that you've missed your calling as a zoologist or something to do with animals. And just like that, you pulled that out of your
You go to the zoo, it's called a herpetarium.
Yeah.
Herpetorium, something like that.
Yeah.
And that's always stuck with me. So maybe we should go herping sometime, Kirk.
Yeah, I think herping is very, very appropriate for this. We went herping in a way, finding this in the theaters.
Yeah.
And going to see this movie.
Here's the thing. I went golfing this weekend for my dear friend's 30th birthday party. It was a golf scramble. And lo and behold, on the first hole, after I had seen this movie, trekking across the fairway was a turtle. Yes. And me and my wife had just seen the movie the day before. And so we named it Mikey, and we sent him on his way. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful thing. It felt like, it was like touching God. It was like, look, this is a sign. This is the earth and the stars and everything aligning. That's what this is.
That is so perfect.
It was beautiful.
You had no idea that you'd be herping one day after seeing.
I know. You never know. That's the thing they say about herping is that you never know when you'll be doing it. It sometimes sneaks up on you.
You got to be ready at all times.
That's right.
Oh my goodness. Well, I am blown away that you knew that term. I thought there's no way.
I didn't know it.
You knew
guessed.
it. You
Maybe
knew
I
it.
did.
You're actually an avid herper.
You caught me, Kirk.
I knew it. So you saved this turtle on the golf course. Have you ever saved a turtle?
I didn't save it. We looked at it. We took a photo with it, one of these.
Oh, okay.
And then that was all. That was all she wrote with the turtle, and it went on its merry way.
I'd like to call out my wife, as she has saved not one, not two, but estimated 10 turtles on the road in her lifetime.
I have accompanied her on some of those, being her brother. I was often riding in the car with her, and we would see a turtle, and you have an extra shoebox in the car, you get to work. She's
pretty much April.
She is, yeah.
They forgot to call her for this potential casting, so I'm sorry, sweetheart. This is for you. This review is for you. So, Cam, I want to know, are you ready to just dive in right here to all of our superlatives and tell about the movie, what we thought was great, the good, the bad, the ugly?
I think I am. I think it's gonna be hotly contested.
Oh.
But I'm going to, if I may, allow you the option of going first so that I may go first on a later segment of Podium.
Ah, yes, Podium. Later today we'll talk about some crime-fighting teams, and we'll rank them in gold, silver, and bronze.
And maybe we'll pick Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Nobody knows. Maybe we will.
Maybe we will. Maybe they won't show up at all. Who knows? I will go first. I'll take that.
Okay.
I'll take that.
Phew.
Because if you remember...
fell right into my trap.
Oh, no. But I get the option of calling out my favorite things first. So you can't pick them once I pick them. Remember, Cam?
Right. Yes.
Let's see what happens. Let's talk first about who our Oscar would go to. The best acting performance in this. It's always a little strange with the animated films because it's really strictly voice acting, which is a very specific type of acting. But... this one was a clear winner for me. I'm going with the actor who played Leo, which was Nicholas Cantu. Have you ever heard about this guy before?
Good choice. No.
Man.
This was news to me.
He's good. I looked up his picture of his real life picture. Sidebar, I believe that every IMDb animated film should have the animated character they play and the real actor.
Oh, yeah, that's good. You should submit that.
I think so. Because sometimes you're watching a kid's movie that's like, not like mainstream, but kind of like third tier cartoon. You're like, I have no idea
you don't know what the character's name was.
Right. And so you get into the weeds and you're like, I don't know. I can't tell my kid who played that voice.
That's real. I like that. I think that's real.
That's my soapbox. But what I recognized from him immediately is that I had seen him in one other live action series, which was The Walking Dead World Beyond. Watched a couple episodes. He plays Dak. Oh, no, sorry. He plays Elton in that. He plays a voice character from Dragon Rescue Riders named Dak. He also plays Gumball in The Amazing World of Gumball. Look out. And he's also in The Fablemans.
Oh.
As a character named Hark, which I'm assuming is like one of the boys that runs around filming.
There's a lot. Yeah, it's a long movie, and there's a lot of characters.
Right. So he's got a long list, a long reputable list. He's very, very in the industry. So bravo to him. I thought his voice was the richest, the fullest, the most developed. With the other characters, I could almost like see them standing in front of their microphone. I didn't feel at all times 100% that we got them fully engulfed into their characters, although they all did a fantastic job. It's so critical for an actor to shape it into what the animation is. I've got two good examples, one bad example. The two good examples are Matthew McConaughey in Sing. Sing 1, Sing 2.
Very good.
I just think that you don't even know it's him until you look it up afterwards. And then the other good example would be Bradley Cooper in
Guardians.
That's
all time. That's an all-timer.
Right?
Yes.
Like, it doesn't even remotely sound like him. And then you're like, holy cow, how does he do it? Because he can do everything great. And then my bad example would be Dwayne Johnson in Moana.
Yeah. I don't know if they were just like, hey, man, let's just not try to do too much. Let's just like... We hired you for a reason, so just be that guy.
Yes. Just be Dwayne Johnson. Just be The Rock. Like, it works for that movie.
It does. It does work very well.
But nothing else.
Sure.
Nothing else at all.
That's fair.
So I'm constantly looking for that kind of immersion into the character. I don't even want to think about your face when I'm looking at the animated character. So I love it. I love Leo's arc. I love his connection to the artwork. I love his dancing. There's a dance scene, and his is so up my alley. I love it all. So for me, the Oscar goes to Nicholas Cantu.
I love it. That's a great pick. It's a great pick. It was on my list. It was on my short list. So
yes,
you did steal one from me. I'm going to go in a different direction though, and I'm going to go with the actor who played April O'Neil, and that's Ayo Edebiri, which I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I can never remember correct pronunciations, but yeah, you know her from The Bear. You know her from I Think You Should Leave on a few very hilarious occasions. You know her from many, many things. She's really on the come up right now, and for good reason. She's extremely gifted. And this movie, as you sort of saw in the trailer, features a reimagining of April O'Neil as a high school newspaper journalist. Mm-hmm. You know, she's writing for her school paper, and she's not the same like confident like girl boss April O'Neil that we've come to know, who's like in front of the camera owning it, whatever. This is very much a high schooler, and a high schooler that has issues with self-esteem and the things that high schoolers do, and I just thought that Ayo just really was a perfect fit for this role. That's not to say that she was typecast in any way, because I feel like all of her roles exhibit her range in such a beautiful way, but she was a perfect fit for this role because she just seemed to really understand this character and breathe life into this character through her voice performance in a way that I think that really very few people could have done. And it made for such an endearing character, and it made for, it's always hard when you're a fan of a franchise. And so like I grew up with the Ninja Turtles, and I've always been, sort of a fan of the Ninja Turtles, though in truth, there hasn't been all that much good Ninja Turtles content. No. If I'm being completely objective, there's been very little really good Ninja Turtles content. But if I think back to like the animated series I used to watch in the 90s that I loved, this is very different in many ways. And April is a character who's different in terms of like, obviously physical appearance, but also just where she's at in life, being a high schooler. So that was a huge adjustment for me, but I like this version a lot. And I think a lot of it is because of Ayo Edebiri's performance. I thought it was extremely endearing, very charming, very personable, very real, and funny. And yeah. She just, she had such a great kind of cadence to the way that she would go through her lines. It's just an authenticity that she can create for a character like this, and I thought she did a fabulous job. So
she did.
Shout out.
She did such a good job that you stole my scene stealer.
Oh no!
From me, Cam.
Do you feel like I overstepped by taking her as best Oscar?
Of course not.
Okay.
Of course not. She fully deserves best Oscar. Oscar goes to section there. I'm just sad that I don't have any backup notes and that I have to wing this next section.
Nice. Love it.
The next section, Scene Stealer, who was the best supporting actor, who stole the show, who was at the front of your lens every time they came on. You were excited about it. This one's hard because I did consider 2 items because I didn't want to write it because I was just like feeling strong and bold, like you wouldn't pick either one of those, like a fool.
Whoopsie.
So got to make my final pick here really quickly. It's got to go to Jackie Chan.
Yeah, gotta be.
He was just great. Jackie Chan plays Splinter in this adaptation, in this particular telling of the Mutant Ninja Turtles. And he's just so funny. I don't know if people understand how funny he is because he's known for his martial arts skill.
Yeah.
You and I have talked about how we've watched many a martial arts movie. I was particularly in love with Jackie Chan's style. And he just finds ways to make so many things funny in fight and in combat. And even through a cartoon, through animation, he was able to find it here too. We got some incredible fight scenes with Splinter, as expected. We got some incredible wisdom from Splinter as well. And just seeing him in the forefront of this was great. We also talked about off video here this weekend about the old show that he was in. It was the Jackie Chan Adventures of some sort, and he was a voice character on that, and he was incredible then. And that was back in the late 90s, early 2000s. That was really maybe his foundation for stepping into this role. I know he's done a couple of voiceover works, but this was really
Jackie Chan wonderful. Adventures is the name of the series. Awesome series.
Yes.
Awesome series. That show was so much better than it had any business being because it was just like, you're making an animated show based on a real person with like some fictional elements thrown in. It like should not work, but it worked so well. It was so good. They did 95 episodes of that show, and I watched them all.
95?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, yes. My goodness. That should not have been so good.
No, it was awesome though.
That came out in the same era as Static Shock was super popular.
I still remember the dopamine hit you would get when they found one of the talismans in that show. I was like, yes. It was so epic. I remember the little graphic they would do for it where it's spinning. It almost looks like it was like 3D animated. That show was sick.
And then it zoom, zoomed in, hit you with the camera. Oh, goodness. Well, Jackie Chan, you come for the Turtles, but stay for him because he is really something special for this one.
Yeah, it's funny. This is like a full circle moment, I feel like, for Jackie Chan because he was kind of cast in all these voice roles for like kind of the wrong reasons. People would cast him as just like a goofy bit part. Like, oh, it's Jackie Chan. They would throw him in like goofy animated martial arts movies and stuff like that. But he gets the last laugh because he's actually a really polished voice actor now and doing things like Jackie Chan Adventures, which was a really good show as we were just talking about, and doing all these voice roles. Now he gets this role, which is kind of meeting him where he's at in his career, and he just knocks it out of the park. And I think people do forget about Rush Hour sometimes.
Oh yeah,
and how hilarious he is in that series. He had all the chops for this, and I mean, he was awesome. He was perfect. Well, that leaves me with, I feel like one solid choice. There's so many great little supporting roles in here, whether it be like Paul Rudd with Mondo Gecko or Rose Byrne as Leatherhead, hilarious. Natasha Demetriou or as Wingnut, Seth Rogen as Bebop. There's so many, but I got to go with the Cube, Ice Cube as Superfly. Talk about another perfect fit. It's clear to me that they wrote the character Superfly with him in mind, and that Ice Cube was really the only person who could play this role the way that it was written. They would have had to majorly alter it, but I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad that Ice Cube, who's a very busy man, very, very busy man, had the availability and was able to do this because he was so fantastic. And I think, again, we're talking about another guy who is a really underrated comedic actor. Even though he's been in a ton of really good comedies like 21 and 22 Jump Street, the Friday series. He's been in a ton of great stuff. Very funny dude who plays typically like the straight man who's taking everything really seriously but says funny stuff but in a serious way. And he brought that energy to Superfly, who is a really cool character, kind of a reimagining of an old turtle villain, and I think a much fresher reimagining of that villain. And I just loved what he brought to the table. He was scary, but he was like all good villains are. He was relatable, and he was articulating his point in a way that you're like, he's got a point. I can see why all these, why he's become this leader amongst this group of mutant miscreants. And I just thought he did a really good job and turned in another great performance. He's so solid, and he was fantastic in this movie.
He is. He's so funny too because
so funny.
He's such an interesting human because when you see him off camera, he is so reserved and
he's intense.
He's just thinking and listening and watching, and then he'll just be like, yeah, that's cool. And then you get him on screen and he explodes into all of this energy. It's like he's reserving that for the screen because he knows that that's where he needs to lay it all on the line. Yes. And then I just wonder, what is that like at home? Is he just yeah, okay. I mean,
he seems like he'd be a good time to be around. I don't know that I want to be on his bad side ever because he's got that intensity and he's got that next notch, but he's so talented, unbelievably talented. And, I was so thrilled to see him on the cast list, and he owned this.
Incredible. The next category we're going to slide right into is going to be the showstopper category. Mm-hmm. Production value. Scenes that stole your heart or blew your mind, things that really impressed you. So my showstopper goes to, quite frankly, the fight sequences. There is one fight sequence in particular. It's the earliest montage fight sequence that you see in the film. And what you'll see in this is, again, no spoilers, but what you'll see in this is that they're basically showing you how good the Ninja Turtles are at fighting. You gotta see them fight, right? And they go on this journey of these different scenes, cut, and they just weave them together in such a fascinating way. It almost seems like, and I need to dive deep into this, but it almost seems like these fight scenes were filmed and then drawn. Like
I bet they were
not like taken and then just like like the old, if you're a millennial, the projector screen, the rickety squeaky projector screen where you put the clear transparent paper up on the wall. But really I think it was that they mapped this out with real people as a guess, and then they said, great, let's mimic that and make adjustments as needed for when we draw it on the screen, because it was so lifelike. It was incredible movement to watch on the screen and fun. Like that, if you're going to have fight sequences and the stakes are high, the fight sequences need to be fun and not just violence, because then it's a kids movie. What are you doing here? So they did a very good job at balancing all of that and knowing when to strike, when it was appropriate to really like hone in on the moment. And I really, really, really was just in awe every time they had to pick up their weapons and go for it, and creatively use their weapons specifically when they were needed. Like they were pivoting to, are we going to use the sai in a certain way? Are we going to use the staff in a certain way, and the swords and the nunchucks? We didn't get a lot of nunchuck action, I will say.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a deficit in director's shoes. But it really was the fight sequences was very thoughtful and very well done.
Yeah, that fighting montage would also be known as the time my 5-year-old asked for a potty break right then. Oh. And I had started and I was like, I was like, seriously? I was like, can you hold it? It's like, I just need a few minutes because it's going to be a montage. It's going to be really cool and I just want to watch it. So I missed a good portion of that. And at the end, I was like talking to my wife and I was like, I don't feel like we got much time with them, like showing their prowess with their weapons and things like that. She was like, well, you missed like a 5-minute montage. And I was like, gosh, dang it. So if you want to put an asterisk next to this review, you can, and then send that to my son and be like, look what you did. No, I'm just kidding. Potty breaks, listen, they happen. But yeah, I'm glad to hear that it was good. It seemed like it was going to be good. Whenever it started, the music got fired up and it was stylishly edited. And I was like, oh man, I really hate to miss this, but you gotta do what you gotta do.
I think the lesson learned is let your kids pee their pants. And
I thought about it. I was like, listen, I think you might be able to hold it. These montages are usually short. We'll see, but I didn't want to risk it.
That's tragic. I'm so sorry.
Very
for
sad.
you.
Very sad.
I'll buy your ticket for your rewatch.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'll put my Venmo in the description of the episode. You guys can reimburse. You guys can help me out. So my showstopper, I'm gonna go with thoughtful retconning because I've been getting myself familiarized with the turtle lore once again because my kids are into it, and so we're reading like the little golden books and a lot of like turtle stuff. And I'm rewatching the '90s series on DVD because my wife came in clutch and was like, "Oh yeah, my parents have it at their house. I'll just bring it over." And so we have it. We're watching them. The kids love it. When they were looking at this story, there was a very clear, and I got to stay spoiler free here. There was a very clear kind of conflict that they wanted to draw out specifically. But if you look at just the turtle lore as it is, there are things that would cause issues with that conflict. Mm-hmm. And so they, at some point during the writing process, had a thoughtful moment where they said, can we change these things about how this whole world came to be? And that way it will fit the story better and have our message be a clearer through line without, taking anything away from that original. And they did it in such a thoughtful way, in such a tasteful way. And I really respect them for that choice because they said, hey, listen, this is the story we want to tell. Here's why we want to tell this story. Here's why this message is important. We believe in it. And you could tell they believe in it with the way that they went about it. And because they made those changes, which is always a risk, anytime you have a fandom and a lore and things like that people believe in, there's always a risk. But as somebody who's a fan of the franchise, I thought they were great builds and good. Things that were written in like the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Sometimes, there's been improvements to storytelling over time, and I thought that there were some improvements here. And it created this great conflict where, the line between good and evil was a fine line. It allowed you to see both sides of the argument so clearly and draw connections to what's going on in society at large today. And it just made for a really beautiful story with a really nice through line. And I thought that was a really smart choice by them.
That's right. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. beautiful storylines.
I know. What's happening?
Thoughtful, poignant storytelling. That's what this is. You thought Oppenheimer did that? Forget about it.
Bring it.
I love it. Now let's dog on the directors, shall we? Let's take a swing at them.
Sure.
My director's shoes, if I were to rewrite this, is that there is something wrong, tragically wrong, with the pacing of this movie. This movie is right at about 100 minutes, hour 40 minutes, or an hour 39, if you will. And I got really bored in the final act, so much that I took a conscious potty break myself. I went and saw this by myself because I was like, you know what? I just need to like mentally break this up. And it was during the final battle, which went on for like Man of Steel epic proportion lengths of time, and I couldn't do it. It was so drawn out, and it suffered from multiple endings. Like, oh, it's probably going to end here. No, they're going to throw some more stuff. So what likely happened is they probably had all these great ideas, which they executed, but it lost its effectiveness because they were putting all of their innovative ideas in one place, in one box. And I feel like they should have just enhanced a couple of the creative fighting styles and creative final battle sequences and just shrank it down. And I know that would have made the movie like, 10 minutes less, maybe even 15 minutes less. I still would have produced that movie and sent it out because it just went on too long, and that upset me.
Interesting. I don't feel like I have that same critique, but it'll be something to watch for on a rewatch. Mm-hmm. It's like usually I can feel pacing things. I didn't feel like I felt it this time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, valid point.
It felt like it was going at a turtle's pace.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Maybe for you. Mine is different. I think for me, it was the contrast of the movie and the color grading of it. This movie is really dark. It's dark the entire time. So I don't like that. I don't like when movies feel monochrome. I want them to feel dynamic. I want there to be lots of different textures and colors and things like that. And what's really cool about this movie is the thing that you will notice straight away, whether you're watching the trailers or watching it in theaters, is that the art direction is extremely stylish. This is the same. The director duo here is Kyler Spears and Jeff Rowe, who worked together on The Mitchells versus the Machines. And Kyler Spears was a storyboard artist for that movie, so had a lot to do with the aesthetic of that movie, which that movie has a phenomenal visual aesthetic. Absolutely love it. But what that movie had was lots of different texture and dynamic changes. You're going to all these different environments. Sometimes you're inside, outside, dark, light, whatever. And it's very balanced in that way. This movie was not balanced. This movie was very out of balance, and it felt dark most of the time. And I don't know if that was a product of the medium that they were using for the art. Like those textures and things like that only look good in darker tones or whatever. I would have to ask them that, but it got to feeling a little bit monochrome and just a little bit blah kind of by the end. You were tired of being in like the dark world. And I know that it's mutants and it's the Turtles, and they typically have kind of been in dark places in all of their movies and shows, but it's kind of like doing a Batman movie. It can't be nighttime all the time. And this movie kind of felt that way. That
is so true. I didn't even consider that until you said it, and then the whole movie like flashed back in my mind, and it's like, yeah, there's 2 daytime scenes, I think.
Yeah, and like sometimes you're like inside a high school, and so there's like fluorescent lighting, but that's like it. That's really it.
Oh man, that would have really broken up the pacing and would have done well. What if the final? I'm gonna spoil it. I'm gonna stop. Well, that's excellent. Let's talk about our final thoughts and scores now, Cam, and really bring it home here for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem. All in all, this was very fun. It was a very fun installment. I did not see the previous weird CGI or Megan Fox versions of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, the more recent versions.
Yeah, there's a couple of them floating around, and I had no desire to see any of those things. They didn't perform well, and you haven't seen people clamoring for that to come on. That's why we get this reboot, thanks to Seth Rogen and the creative team. I thought this was fun. I thought that this will be something that you can put on and replay, but ultimately the director's shoes brought it down significantly for me to a somewhat an otherwise really well constructed and creative film up until that final battle. Really, really, really upset me so much that I'm giving it a 6.2 out of 10 kernels today.
All right. I'll give my final thoughts and scores. I think I don't have the same pacing concerns that you have, but I have other concerns about, the darkness. I also felt like this is oddly the first Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross score that didn't stick out to me.
Yeah.
They have such an iconic sound, and I think about Watchmen, and I think about The Social Network, and I think about all these amazing scores that they've been a part of, and they're all so iconic. And this one, as I was listening to it, when the credits rolled, I was like, that is a well-constructed score, but it just wasn't one that popped in any significant way for me, though the soundtrack was great. There were some good songs mixed into this movie at good times. Really like the art direction, really like the casting. I thought the voice acting was really good, really fun. This movie is very funny, good, relevant references. I thought it was almost like, I was like, did I write this movie? Because there were references to a lot of properties that I have invested a lot of time into. Like their one superhero reference was like the Incredible Hulk. I was like, yeah. They also referenced Attack on Titan. They referenced a bunch of Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I was like, wow, this is like right in my wheelhouse. So all of that stuff was very fun. I think this is an amazing reboot for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles franchise. I'm excited that there is a sequel on the way that they've announced, as well as a spin-off series that will kind of bridge the two movies together. That sounds really cool. And this movie is a true reboot origin film in that there's headway for them to grow. And that's what I really like. So in some ways that kind of hurts origin films because they have to keep their best rounds in the chamber, and you could sort of feel that with this movie a little bit, but I'm still giving it a 7.8 out of 10. Really like this movie. I had a great time, went with my kids to go see it. They, my 3-year-old fell asleep 40 minutes in, so maybe he had the same pacing concerns as you, but my 5-year-old loved it, has been talking about it ever since. I thought it was very good.
Wow, 7.8. Just imagine your score if you would have actually seen the first.
I think it would be in the 8s. I really do. If I had seen the montage, because that was one of the things that I left with, was like, I don't feel like they should have been as good at fighting. I didn't have the backing for that. And there it was in that montage that I didn't get to see. So well, asterisk next to that score.
As soon as this comes out on what I'm assuming would be Paramount Plus later on, I'm going to have you watch it again and come back and tell us about it.
We'll retally the score. Yeah.
Well, that is our review for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. Say that 10 times fast. It's impossible. Impossible. And you should go see it. Based on our scores, based not on our scores, based on your gut feeling. If you were a millennial or if you're finding the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles now, you should definitely go and try it out. I think it's a great fun watch. Now, speaking to the 90s series, it's not possible to stream those anywhere. It's only on DVD.
Yeah, though some of them I think are supposed to be coming to Paramount because they have the full rights to a lot of that older stuff now. So
good.
I'm hoping it's only a matter of time.
Good.
But yeah, I'm literally watching them on DVDs that were released probably in like 2000, 2001. So
that's incredible. Yeah. That's incredible. Well, I want to know how that rewatch goes because maybe we need to buy the whole set.
Maybe we do.
Play it behind us while we review other movies. I don't know.
That sounds like a great sensory experience for everyone in the audience. I think that's a good idea, Kirk.
I love it. Well, a quick break from our episode. We're going to chat about our sponsors. We could not do any of this without them. It's Smoothie King, St. Louis area Smoothie King stores. They are just incredible restaurant, sweet spot, meal plan spot. I need to know more about what I can call
They're
them.
like a great genre-defining movie. They don't fit into any of those boxes. They're their own thing. Boom.
That's incredible.
That's right.
That's incredible. They cross boundaries. They cross the aisles and shake hands with everyone. Whether you're trying to meet your daily nutritional needs, staying strong, or helping each other reach your goal, or simply enjoying a sweet treat. Whatever your purpose, be sure to choose Smoothie King. thousands of smoothies. I'm calling it today. They will someday have thousands of smoothies.
Well, technically, if you add it, if you could do, with as many add-ons as they have, how permutations work. Like there probably are maybe even millions of smoothies that you could try.
That's right. It's kind of like when you're trying to crack a safe and you have all the different options. If you're going to crack the code on having every single possible option of Smoothie King, just like if you're trying to like ride a roller coaster, like the most out of anyone, you should become the Guinness Book of World Record person who tries every option of smoothie ever made. I've gone off the rails here.
Would be delicious.
I've literally gone off the rails. But I can get back on the rails if I would just have a smoothie. I didn't have one today, and I plan on getting one tomorrow. Peanut Power Plus is my absolute favorite, 20 ounce. And then sometimes I go a little crazy and I add some spinach in there just for a nice little additive. What do you get typically, Cam?
Typically, I get an Angel Food Slim with kale and peanut butter.
Look at this.
That's right.
It sounds like delicious cake and sweets, but it's really not. It's really a healthy alternative to anything else you might be ordering off of DoorDash. So make sure you stop in. You can do a mobile online order. You can run through the drive-thru at any one of the areas. Don't forget to check them out. We've got the Forest Park Avenue in St. Louis. There's also over in East Belleville and Granite City, and you know them greatly at the addresses, respectively, 660 Carlisle Avenue in Belleville or 3401 Namioki Road in Granite City. Make sure you get your smoothie today to rule the day. All that said, it is time for a little segment we like to call Podium.
That's right. Let's get into it, Kirk. I know. It's regal. It's majestic. It gets you in the right mindset to pick some very serious things. And the topic for Podium today, we're going to go gold, silver, bronze on crime-fighting groups. I expect this to be tough.
Very tough.
I expect this to be one that we're stealing picks from each other on every go. So that's what I'm excited about. And I have the first pick. See, I said you fell into my trap earlier. This is it. You're about to reap the consequences. Yeah, you're going to reap what I sowed. I'm going to reap the benefits of your actions. That's what's going to happen.
Of your manipulative choices at the beginning of this episode.
That's right. So let's get into it, Kirk. Crime-fighting groups, and we will accept duos.
Okay.
That's still a group of people, technically. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. Don't Google group. Don't Google what the word group means.
I won't.
Okay.
I won't.
Duos are allowed. I'm just saying that right now, but no solos. Okay. My first one, I don't know if this will be a surprise pick. I feel like this is a great pick. For me, it's going to be the X-Men. It's going to be the X-Men. The X-Men, what I really like about them is that they fight for those who would not fight for them. And that just really hits in your heart. It's kind of like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You know, they're mutants. The X-Men are also mutants. And the truth is, if they were just out in the world, people would not accept them. Mm-hmm. But they have the power, and with great power comes great responsibility, as Uncle Ben said.
True.
And in other universes, Aunt May. And so they do it because they're just, and that's what makes a good crime fighting group. They're just, and they do the right thing even when they don't have to. Mm-hmm. That's what I like about the X-Men.
Well, that's a great choice. I don't know. I'm feeling kind of iffy on my crime list here, Cam. I had a hard time doing this, but now I'm looking at my list and
there's thinking blood in the water.
I'm thinking there's a lot of underdogs on here. So I don't even know if I'm going to undercut you or if I'm just going to go way out in left field.
You're just going to lose outright. You're just going to pick bad picks.
Wait, not bad picks.
I don't know. That's what it sounds like.
Let's clarify. Unexpected picks.
It sounds like bad picks, but let's just hear and we'll judge for ourselves.
Well, this first one might not be so out of left field. I'm going to go with The Incredibles.
Oh, that's a good one. That one was not on my list.
The family fighting duo, Mr. Incredible, Elastigirl, Dash, Violet, and...
That's not a duo.
What?
There's 5 of them.
Did I say duo?
You did. You said family fighting duo.
The family fighting duo. That makes perfect sense. And what's that baby's name? Jack. I mean, absolutely incredible. We see this family come from just almost, I mean, if we're being honest, I think that Mr. Incredible and Mrs. Incredible might have been on the verge of separating because things were not good.
It was rough.
They were not good. And they found their true passion and love, not only for their family, but for their occupation, which is saving people, and for saving the world. So I really, really love this family dynamic. I love how different they are. I love how they work together to make things work. They're all hilarious in their own right. And I would be down for an Incredibles 3.
Oh, yes. Yes, definitely. I like it. Or maybe in Incredibles 3, it's like Jack's grown up. Or no, not Jack. Sorry. Dash and Violet are grown up. Jack would still be young-ish.
What if Jack is still a baby, but everyone else
is
grows up?
A perma baby? He stays permanently a baby. That would be cool. Yeah. Part of his powers. I don't know. As I say this out loud, it sounds terrible. So I'm going to stop. No. But yes, Incredibles 3, let's do it.
Doesn't sound as bad as the Incredibles duo, as I said just a few moments ago.
Here we go. My second pick. I'm picking one that I feel like is definitely not on your list, and maybe not on a lot of people's list because it might be a bit of a curveball. I'm going to go with the Z Fighters from Dragon Ball Z, which is the group of people that includes like Goku, Piccolo, that whole group. They're sometimes called the Z Fighters.
Okay.
And they don't fight crime per se because I don't think it's technically a crime to destroy the universe, but or destroy the earth. But murder is a crime, and when you destroy the earth, you murder like millions of people. And they're often stopping people from destroying the earth. Like they do it all the time. There's always guys like aliens come in, they're like, we're gonna destroy the earth.
Yeah.
Or androids or something, and they stop them. So I feel like that's fighting crime, and they do a good job, and they look cool doing it. That's part of it too.
Yeah.
The crime. You got to look good doing it. Like the Incredibles, they look good, matching suits. The X-Men, matching suits. Mm-hmm. So there's a theme here. The Z Fighters, a lot of them have matching suits, but there's some mixtures. But I think the Z Fighters are elite.
Excellent. I know nothing about them.
Good.
I thought you made them up.
No, that's real. I feel like even Dragon Ball Z fans will be like, oh yeah, they are called the Z Fighters because it's kind of a cheesy, weird thing. But that's them. Those are the guys.
Okay. I'm going way left field. I'm ready, Cam. Are you ready?
More left field than that?
Way more than left field than that.
I'm ready.
I'm going Captain Planet and his team.
Oh my.
Yes, I am. Captain Planet.
What kind of crimes are they fighting? Littering?
Crimes against the earth. Yes, sir.
Deforestation?
That's exactly what they're fighting against. Earth, heart, air,
heart. Crimes
water.
Against heart, whatever that is.
That show needs a reboot. How we've gone this far and we only got the Don Cheadle Funny or Die satire. I want it. I want it in full force. I don't know.
We've talked about it a couple times.
We have.
We need to put our money where our mouth is, I think.
I'll gladly be Captain Planet.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying we do it. I'm saying we put our money where our mouth is and finance a Captain Planet project.
That could be the whole catalyst for us getting to the next level with the podcast.
It could be.
Like, those are the guys that made Captain Planet happen.
I wonder how much the rights to Captain Planet costs.
$8 billion.
I bet they're expensive.
I bet
there has to be a reason it hasn't happened yet.
Right, because they're like, listen, I'm not going to get any good ROI if I spend $8 billion on Captain Planet.
I think it's owned by Warner Bros. And they're just like, listen, we're sitting on this one. We've developed all of our other IPs, but we need to wait for the perfect idea to come through for Captain Planet.
There are these two guys in mid-America.
They don't want to waste their opportunity. I respect it.
But yeah, I think that it's a lost... there's a lot of times when you have these kind of cartoons like this that never get any traction, and Captain Planet did. It was environmentally safe and environmentally minded, and it was fun, and a great theme song.
Good theme song.
A lot of other ones fall short, and I think there should be more like it.
Good colors too. That's big with a kids show. The colors have to pop, and man, did they ever.
They really did.
They did.
What a show.
Okay, point of inquiry for you.
Okay.
How far are you going left field again for your last pick, or are you going to stay mainstream? Because there's a few here I feel like we have to mention, otherwise we get murdered.
Oh, okay.
In terms of like people being like, okay, come on. So I just need to know where I need to go, I guess is what I'm saying.
Like if you also go left field now,
I don't
to
think I
bounce
can.
it out,
I think
or-
we've only got 2 picks left. I think we need to stay, but I'm just asking.
I mean, my next one isn't so much left field as it really is a crime fighting team.
Okay. I'm going with the Justice League.
Okay.
I'm going with the Justice League, and I think people need to remember that even though there have been some bad Justice League movies in recent years, including an extended cut of the same Justice League movie that was worse than the original. Well, it actually wasn't worse than the original cut, but it was still bad, and it was much longer, which makes it feel worse. The Justice League is dope. Okay, even though there have been some bad live action movies, the Justice League slaps. They have, I mean, you put them up pound for pound against the Avengers. I'm telling you right now, it's not a fair fight. It's just not.
Whoa.
Like, I mean, I think the story begins and ends with Superman.
Well,
Also Wonder Woman.
huh?
You know, Batman is the world's greatest detective. He may be a human, but so is Tony Stark. I'm just saying. You tell me Batman couldn't come up with some gadgets to Iron Manify the Iron Man suit? I feel like he could do it.
Yeah.
They're awesome. There's great diversity in terms of opinions on the Justice League. They're often kind of like arguing with each other to find the best solution, and I like that. There's a liveness to it. And so even though I like the Marvel Cinematic Universe more than the DC Universe at this point in time, for sure, the Justice League is just a better team, I think.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
I dig that. The differing opinions is true. Like they will be. You know, we've seen the MCU and the Marvel characters in comics and in film fight each other, but really DC.
Yeah,
worlds,
watch like Justice League Unlimited. Batman and Wonder Woman are like screaming at each other.
Yeah, like every episode, there's like a civil war.
Yeah, it's dead serious.
Yeah, they don't play. My final pick, and I don't believe that this is too crazy. It is the Toretto family from.
Oh my gosh, that is left field, Kirk.
I don't think so. Hear me out. This family, from the depths of crime, that was their whole occupation. Crime.
Crime was their occupation.
That was it. Ken from Barbie, his occupation was beach. The Toretto family, crime.
Just crime.
And they rose to the calling. They said, "You know what, Paul Walker? Yes, we will. We will join your team. We will fight against the crime that made us our millions of dollars. We will go so far as to become secret agents. We won't even need the gadgets. Just give us the cars. We will kill people and bring them back. We will."
They do.
We'll go to space, and who knows? There might be time travel next time. And they're all fighting for world peace, to save the world. They were just trying to rob a car and rob a
car. Yeah,
in the first movie.
I hate it when my car gets robbed
And
by the Hamburglar.
And now who knows? It might be time travel on this final journey. So
it could be.
It's the Toretto family, and you might see me on a future episode wearing that tank top I won that one time.
That's left field. I'm sorry. The Avengers were still on the board. The Fantastic Four.
The
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
No, none of them compare to family.
Any honorable mentions?
Oh, absolutely. The Avengers. Mystery Men. Hello.
Oh, yeah.
What?
The Impossible Mission Force. How about that one?
Oh, yeah, that's on my list. And Animorphs.
And Transformers. Autobots, obviously.
Yeah.
I would say Wishbone.
Wishbone?
Yeah. I mean, he's got friends that he does business with.
He does.
Also,
I love Wishbone.
That's a stretch. I will admit. The Mystery Machine Gang, Scooby Doo and his crew.
Oh, I did have them on here.
Yeah.
Mystery Inc. Fred, Daphne,
Mystery
Velma,
Inc.,
Shaggy.
yeah.
Fun fact: do you know Shaggy's full name?
No.
Well, his first name. I don't know his last name. Norville.
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 We'd have to imagine his last name is something that could be shortened to Shaggy, right?
It might be Rogers. Like, I don't think it really...
Norville Rogers?
I think so.
I think you made that up.
Oh, hold on then. Shaggy's real
But I think the Fantastic Four is on there. I think...
it's Rogers.
Shaggy Rogers.
Norville Rogers.
Wow. Well, you learn something new every day.
Thanks
Thanks for that, Kirk. I appreciate that.
Today we've covered herping and Shaggy's real name.
Good. Covering all the bases. That's good. Cool.
Well, I think that's all we can give to you today. We've given you our best, and we hope that you can give your best by also listening in and watching us on YouTube and watching us on your favorite podcast platform, which would be listening.
That's called listening. Yes, good job.
I'm firing on all cylinders today. So just remember that we do have our monthly giveaway this month. Make sure you subscribe to us. Make sure you like everything possible on YouTube. Make sure you comment on everything possible. They're all individual entries to get you a chance to win everything, everywhere, all at once. 4K combo pack from
Collector's
P24.
edition. It's the collector's edition. It's full of all kinds of goodies. Last time I said an everything donut shaped disc. It's everything bagel. There's no such thing as an everything donut. Though I'd love to see what that would be. I think it would be absolute debauchery. But yeah, it's the collector's edition. Everything everywhere all at once. 4K. And I just shipped out the winner from last month today. Guardians of the Galaxy on its way to you, KL Wilson 22. Thank you for being a part. And yeah, if you're a subscriber, every like and comment on an episode video this month is an entry. So I mean, it's your destiny is in your own hands. And these are winnable giveaways. They really are. Like there's not a ton of competition. You're helping us out. We'll help you out with a prize. Yeah,
your biggest competition is me. I've created 37 ghost accounts, and I'm going to absolutely steal this.
And I had to hide it from Kirk. It's in the house right now, but I won't tell him where it's at because I think he has expressed interest in stealing it. So
yeah, I'm going to tear this house apart.
No, absolutely not. You'll never find it. It's buried. It's buried somewhere.
Well, as I go and journey throughout Cam's house, I want to give a special thanks to our executive producer, Ryan Spriggs, for telling us how to do all these things. We appreciate you, and we also appreciate the music from him and his band, Rhetoric. Check them out on Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere music is played. We will talk to you guys next week for another movie review.
Talk to you then.